Hi everybody and welcome back to another Legends of Runeterra video. Today I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm not going to have a gameplay attached to this video. I just kind of wanted to talk a little bit about the cards and discuss a little bit about them and specifically champions today. Something that maybe I could include in this channel coming up here, just kind of discussing thoughts about the champions and their weaknesses and maybe why I don't use them in a lot of my decks. So typically, at least when I deck build, I really enjoy creating lots of different types of decks with all of the champions and kind of using them in ways that a lot of people don't think about, and that can be fun and refreshing. And so that's pretty important to me when I'm making these decks. I really want to focus on something new, something that really hasn't been done before, and coming up with ideas on my own. And then if I don't come up with the main original concept, I like to kind of put my own flavor and flair on it. So what I kind of wanted to talk about today was a particular champion from arguably the most vanilla of all of the regions, and that is Quinn. Quinn was released in the Rising Tides Bilgewater expansion, and I don't really use her a lot, and I think Quinn as a champion is really underpowered as a 5-cost unit. Compared to basically all of the other 5-cost units, besides maybe Garen, who was also from Demacia, I might add. As a 5-cost unit, these units in general are game-changing, kind of game-winning units. You put these units down in order to finish off the game in the next few rounds. Now, the problem inherently with Quinn is that in order to level Quinn up, you need to summon, or she needs to see you attack 4 times. She actually needs to see you attack 4 times. So the problem with that is that you're playing her at the earliest round 5, barring any sort of weird cards, Progress Day, Mobilize, anything like that. You are playing her turn 5, and if you get scouts out, if you have scouts out onto your board that aren't taken out, I mean, she summons Valor when you first open up with her, but 1 health. It's really easy to take it out, so you have to have scouts out. It will take you a minimum of 2 rounds to level her up. 2 rounds that you're attacking in, so that is a total of 4 rounds. So then all of a sudden, you can't even level up Quinn until turn 9. She needs to be on the board for you to start her level up condition, as opposed to a lot of these other units. For example, Vladimir, Vi, Swain, and Gangplank. None of those champions need to be out to meet their level up condition. And the others, like Thresh and Garen and Heimerdinger, they're fairly easy to level up. But Quinn, on the other hand, I mean, you really have to go through a ton of rounds in order to level her up. And like best case scenario, she's not going to level up till round 9. I mean, you could get rallies and build around that a little bit, but it's going to take 4 rounds to level her up in most cases. At the very best. So then if you don't have scouts out every round, I mean, we're potentially looking at rounds 10, 11, and 12 before you can even level her up, which makes it almost like you need to put her into a control deck, but her most closely synergistic region is Bilgewater, which isn't really a control region, and so I mean, you have to stack in a whole bunch of barriers and stuff to protect her from spell removal, which is pretty easy to do in 4 rounds, to be honest. You don't really want to be attacking with her by herself in these rounds because, I mean, she's only got 4 health. She's kind of understated, to be honest, for a card from Demacia compared to things like Swain and Thresh, 3 and 6, 3 and 6. She's 3 and 4. I don't really understand it. It seems like she's really underpowered as a champion card here. And then when she levels up, her level up is she summons Valor every time, and Valor challenges the strongest enemy. Now that's all okay and good, but by the end of the game, you're trying to finish up at round 10, and it is very likely that the enemy has a full board. And so, I mean, you summon Valor, so he takes the strongest enemy to him. But I mean, she's still going to be left open to block, right? I mean, you have to have barriers, just all these different spells to protect her still, and I mean, it's really not a good card that's going to be finishing the game. Like Valor by himself isn't going to be doing much to finish the game. You do get to attack twice, however, but I mean, you still have to protect Quinn each time she attacks. So even like other cards from Demacia, like Cytherea the Bold and Genevieve Helmhart, I think is her name. She's even better at kind of doing this job than Quinn is. They're bulkier and they can survive more hits, just more utility as well. And then comparing Quinn to these other champions level ups, like Swain, like by turn 5 in a lot of decks, Swain can be leveled up. All of a sudden he's leveled up at turn 5 and he's doing these board wipes with being fearsome and if you hit the Nexus, make contact with the Nexus with Swain, he's taking out all of the enemies on his own, not just like Valor taking out one. So Swain has the potential to take out all of the enemies. The same thing with Gangplank. When he levels up, you summon a powder keg each round and then he does a powder full explosion. So, I mean, it's really easy to do board wipes with Gangplank as well, and then he's got overwhelmed, so a clear shot at the Nexus. And then Vi will do additional damage to the Nexus. She's tough. She can be leveled up by the time that she gets onto the board. And then same thing with Vladimir. Really easy to have him leveled up by the time he even comes out. Now, Vlad himself is a little bit underpowered as well, I believe, but I mean, I think he's more powerful than Quinn is if he can be leveled up by the time you get out and his win condition is established. Quinn, on the other hand, hardly gets any play. She's really understated, so what, I guess, is the proper steps to take in order to buff up Quinn? And I really don't know the best way to buff up Quinn. I guess potentially something that could work is just lowering her cost by 1 and having her come out on turn 4. That would make her level up a little bit easier. Once again, though, it does seem a little bit slow because instead of her leveling up at the earliest around 9, it would be around 8. So we're still getting kind of the late game. We've got other cards that have better use than Quinn at that point of the game. And so that might not even be the best. Maybe the level up condition works more similarly to these other cards where you attack 4 times with scouts, maybe. That could be a possibility. Or even increase that condition, like attack 6 times with scouts and then level up Quinn. But as she stands right now, I just think she's way too slow of a card. She really isn't that powerful, and her base stat line isn't that good either. Yeah, I think like the concept of scouts is really interesting and can work with a bunch of different regions, but Quinn as the champion representing scouts just isn't really there for me. Yeah. So the second champion that I wanted to talk about today, one that I don't really like a whole lot, is Nautilus. I know I might get a lot of hate for this, but my opinion of Nautilus is he's too linear. As I kind of said at the beginning, I really like building deck concepts around these champions that have a lot of utility and just different ways of using the cards. And Nautilus, unfortunately, at this moment, this could definitely change in the future, but right now he's very, very basic. You have to build a certain way around Nautilus. And I might still get some hate from a lot of people, but that is my opinion. Nautilus, you have to build deep around Nautilus. There's like no other way, and there isn't really a huge pool of cards to draw from with deep. Very few of these sea monsters are available. So maybe when Targon is released, they will release more card concepts that synergize a little bit better with this deep idea and Nautilus. But as he stands, Nautilus is way too linear of a champion for me to like. Not much else to say about that. I don't really feel like he's underpowered. I feel like the archetype of deep works very well, and a lot of people enjoy that. I just do not, because, like I said, you have to build the deck a certain way, and there isn't really a different way of doing that. You can kind of control what sea monsters go into the deck, but I mean, overall, the most efficient way to run the deck is already set. Most people know what that is, and the deck list is pretty much set in stone at this moment in time. So that's kind of my thoughts on Nautilus and Quinn. Yeah, so kind of a different video today. If you enjoy this type of video, go ahead and comment. Just talk about, you can leave suggestions of other cards that you would like to see my opinion about, or maybe potential changes that could happen to them that would make them a little bit better. We could talk about that in the future. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, and we will see you tomorrow. Thanks.